Russian casualty ratios in Ukraine are in places as high as 25 to every 1 Ukrainian defender, according to the UK Defense Secretary John Healey. A newly published account by war blogger BCH3 of the lives of Russian convict stormtroopers helps to illustrate why. Different people, different faces. Someone with a hoarse convict's voice, twisted by life like a Karelian birch. Another simple, without his own opinion, just tagging along with fate. Mice with petty souls and predatory wolves, team players and loners. They're told, "You know cold and hunger, so go ahead. You are more prepared by life to survive, not to go crazy during a bloody assault." On all fronts, they are at the forefront of the attack. They do not receive medals and orders, those who follow. And when they were left surrounded, they called fire from FABs, heavy guided bombs, on themselves, in Kupiansk, in Zolotoy Kolodets, and other places. But who knows about this? Who even wants to know? Here's a guy. The sentence is 2 years for some petty crime. He served 1.5, only 6 months left. He could have sat there quietly playing backgammon, but he went, and he's already been here 2.5 years, 5 times longer than the remaining sentence. And his B fitness status hasn't been lifted. They're transporting him to hospitals behind the border in stages, under escort. The last combat mission, Pokrovsk direction, the extreme point. It's 15 kilometers from Malinivka, then another 30 kilometers through tree lines and open fields. Sometimes you have to ride, sometimes you have to run. The road of death. 10 to 15 motorcyclists burn every day, and it's terrifying to hear people's death screams, but you can't stop and help them. FPV's drones are chasing you too. While crossing yet another open field with allies, I saw a fiber optic drone waiting. You can't hide from them. They appear behind you instantly. One of my allies was torn apart, 2 others heavily wounded. He took a hit to the leg, bone shattered below the knee. The 2 wounded had shrapnel in the head and body. Forgetting his own leg, he started bandaging them, applying tourniquets, but they bled out and died in his arms. Then he crawled back. On sheer willpower, somehow made it to the tree line, where allies picked him up. They passed him to their colleagues, who sent a quad bike with a trailer carrying other wounded. Almost reached Malinivka when an FPV catches up. 2 jumped off and ran. What was he supposed to do with his leg? In panic, he jumped and ran too. The drone turned and flew straight after him. He couldn't feel his leg, dodged the drone several times. Someone shot and hit it. The drone exploded a couple of meters away, aiming right at his head. He fell, blacked out for a moment, woke up feeling his face filling with blood. 2 shrapnel fragments pierced his skull, plus while running he got 2 open leg fractures. Now they'll patch him up and send him back to the steps and motorcycles, and even after trepanation his B status won't disappear. Regarding supplies, we don't know about other units, but the Storm unit were moving with lives off volunteers. They don't even have the most basic necessities: armor, helmets, camouflage suits, generators, machine gun magazines. Those are the ones who are first at the anvil of victory. They have their own hospital. They've asked for help, but to cover all the needs there, they need a lot of money. The wounded are coming in platoons. The expense is enormous. We used to have someone who could resolve these issues with a single phone call, but now he's gone. We'll collect bit by bit as much as we can. In March, we'll collect entirely for that hospital. If anyone's interested, we'll send you the locations of the most essential items. Ukraine's military intelligence continues to target Russian assets deep behind the front lines. The primary unit of GUR reported that over the past week, its operators carried out a series of precision strikes against high-value Russian military equipment in occupied Crimea. According to the unit, the attacks destroyed or disabled several critical systems supporting Russian operations on the peninsula. Among the reported targets were a Pantsir-S air defense system, a Nebo-U long-range radar, and a BK-16 high-speed landing craft used for coastal patrol and rapid troop deployment. Such equipment plays a key role in protecting Russian bases and maintaining maritime and aerial awareness across Crimea. These strikes form part of a broader Ukrainian campaign aimed at weakening Russia's defensive network and logistical capabilities in occupied territories. By targeting air defense and radar systems, Ukrainian intelligence units seek to create gaps in coverage, making future drone and missile operations more effective. On the South Slobozhansky axis, border guard units from the 4-post brigade of the State Border Guard Service of Ukraine continue targeted strikes against Russian military assets near the front line. According to operational reports, the brigade successfully destroyed a Russian self-propelled artillery system along with multiple trucks and vehicles used for transport and logistics. The strikes are part of an ongoing mission to locate and eliminate Russian equipment operating close to the border and in forward staging areas. The unit has been tasked with systematically clearing out Russian hardware in this sector, using drones and precision fire to disrupt supply movements and reduce artillery pressure on Ukrainian defensive positions. Russian propagandists are complaining about a Ukrainian offensive near Stepnohirsk. The armed forces of Ukraine have begun gradually pushing the Russians back, and they have started lamenting the difficulties. The shallowed Kakhovka reservoir is not helping much despite the 20-kilometer stretch, as the Russian channel notes that airstrikes in the area have increased. The situation on the western flank of the Zaporozhye direction has sharply deteriorated over the past 24 hours. The enemy is trying to cut off the salient towards Zaporizhzhia on the banks of the former Kakhovka reservoir. Ukrainian formations have gone on the offensive on a section about 20 kilometers wide. What is known at the moment? An additional challenge is the increased activity of enemy aircraft, which are carrying out strikes on communications. The crossings of the Yanchakrak and Karachakrak rivers remain narrow bottlenecks for the transfer of reinforcements, even despite the drying up of the Kakhovka reservoir. Based on the current dynasties, the minimum task for the armed forces of Ukraine could best restore stable control over Primorsk, strengthen positions in Stepnogorsk, possibly occupy Plavny, and push out Russian units from Pavlovka and clear out Novoyakovlevka. In the event of success, the following areas will be under threat: Step, Small Sherbak, and Kamenske, the front line from where the local advance towards Zaporizhzhia previously began. The worst, albeit unlikely, scenario is a breakthrough to Vasilyevka. In this case, the infiltration will be mirror, and the opponent will find himself in a vulnerable position. Earlier, we already wrote about the threat of a counteroffensive by the armed forces of Ukraine with the aim of pushing back the Russian armed forces from the front line on Konka and the approaches to Zaporizhzhia. And in fact, we can state, if not the beginning of it, then a very large-scale reconnaissance in force. And how many forces the enemy has amassed in the liberated villages is a question that will almost certainly remain unanswered.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.